going on Facebook Live now. You may want to call Heidi. And let me go on to here. How much time? Keep me honest, Andre. So we have Andre now that's working he's going to be my producer. Brian is moved on and we miss him, but Andre's been filling in really well, learning a lot. And he eats well, Dr. Fuhrman.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yes. I know he's going to love you too.
It's
Okay.
8:05.
It's 8:05. Show starts at 8:06. It would be great to promote it on your site. So all you have to do is it's on now. So you can hit share and you should be able to see it. So for those of you who are watching today, if you have a question for Dr. Fuhrman, please put it below. Be patient with me because I don't know how to see beyond 4 questions. So be patient. And if you can ask it again, if I don't ask it, okay? So fasten your seatbelt. We're going to learn and grow together because Dr. Fuhrman is going to continue answering your questions. Dr. Fuhrman, we had so many questions left over after the show that I thought we need to do part 2.
Okay.
So I can't hear the music, Andre. So let me know when the music has started.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
Here we go. Am I going to get you to dance today, Dr. Fuhrman?
No.
People are saying on Facebook, dance, Dr. Fuhrman, dance, Dr. Fuhrman. They want to see you dance. Okay.
Like your best thing could.
Here we go. I'm going to share it.
If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right
It's a
here,
catchy tune. You got to admit it.
right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
This is Lillian always turn to the Lillian McDermott Show. We found Lillian here on the web.
Did you share it on your website, Dr. Fuhrman?
Friend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And if you've been tuning in for the last 7 years or just found us yesterday, welcome back. But if this is the first time that you have tuned into the show and you've stumbled upon the Lillian McDermott radio show, then just know I've been waiting for you. And this is a great place that you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal. And it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, I'm on Facebook Live at Lillian's Radio Show. You can go there and then later on you can see us on YouTube. But we are here live so that you can embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, last month, as you know, Dr. Joel Fuhrman comes on the show almost for the last 3 years, has been a monthly visitor on the Lillian McDermott radio show, truly a good friend of the show. And he is just as passionate, he's been so passionate about health and wellness his whole career. He has made such an incredible difference in people's lives, helping reverse and prevent diseases. And he is a New York Times bestselling author. Well, he's back today, as always. On Wednesday, he's here. And what we're going to be talking about is your questions. We have more questions. After Dr. Fuhrman answered your questions last month, more came up. So we're going to do this again. So I'm going to ask you the question, have you had your G-bombs today? Well, if you haven't, you will want to do it after the show. We're going to learn from Dr. Fuhrman. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Fuhrman is back to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Fuhrman, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well and so excited, and I'm looking forward to getting more questions. You can either text your questions at 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. Or you can go to facebook.com/Lillian Lillian's radio show. So it's at Lillian's radio show if you're on Facebook already. And so you can join us in our broadcast today. Dr. Fuhrman, I'm so grateful to you. You are a bestseller for PBS. You go around touring for them and helping them make money. And you have so many books, 14 books, and now your new retreat center, but yet you still make time for the Lillian McDermott radio show. What a gift. Thank you so much, Dr. Fuhrman.
My pleasure.
So share a little bit about your background for those who are just stumbling on the show or maybe have never heard you before. Why is it that you're so passionate as an MD, classically trained, why you are so passionate about nutritional science?
Well, because not only does it save lives, in other words, enable people to live a long and healthy life without mental illness and physical ailments, but the medical profession treating people with drugs and surgery is barbaric and cancer-causing and kills people needlessly. What I'm saying is that medical care is probably the third leading cause of death in America, and that the drugs we use to lower blood pressure increase risk of cancer, and the statin drugs increase risk of diabetes, and the diabetic medications make you gain weight, increase risk of cancer and diabetes, increases the risk of developing a diabetic-related death. In other words, we're seeing more strokes at earlier ages, more dementia, more mental illness, more explosion of cancer growth. In other words, this is so dear to my heart and so important because so many millions of people are being tortured and suffered needlessly all over the world due to the fact that we have a dietary problem creating diseases, not a lack of medical care, a lack of drugs. We have people poisoning themselves with frankenfoods, creating obesity and diabetes and heart disease and cancer epidemic, and it doesn't have to be. Every person who has a stroke doesn't have to be in a nursing home. You don't have to have strokes. Every woman who goes through chemotherapy, a lot of those women die of heart disease from the chemotherapy or an unrelated cancer. And the postmenopausal women being treated with chemotherapy has an insignificant amount of months added to their life, 2 to 3 months. In other words, we're spinning our wheels, watching people suffer, and we've landed the man on the moon. By that I mean that we already know how to stop cancer, how to not have breast cancer and prostate cancer. We already know how to not have heart attacks and strokes. We already know how people don't have to get demented. And nutritional science has made such incredible advances in the last 2 decades that this information has to get out to the population to save people from having a horrible life. They're being tortured.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
torture is going on all around us, and it doesn't have to be that way. And people have to learn that they can protect themselves.
And we don't, and we are so blind. We believe in what we see on television and the commercials, and it doesn't have to be this way. Please share this show and make sure that everybody goes on Facebook Live, and we can learn and grow today with Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Dr. Fuhrman, every time I ask you that question, the passion that comes to your heart, you speak from your heart when because many times when people ask you a medical question, a technical question, you're in your head. You know this stuff inside and out. But when I ask you why, you go from here to here. And it is so beautiful to watch. You could say, hey, let's wake up the world. But it's beyond that. This is your calling. And, when you have a calling, you just can't help but do it. And
Right.
of all the years that you've been doing this, have you ever felt discouraged? Have you ever felt like, let me just live my own life and make my own money and just let everybody be?
Not really, because I'm always getting this reinforcement from the individual people I affect. And people telling me thank you for saving my life and thank you for getting rid of my asthma. And I've suffered my whole life with daily headaches, or I've been faced with having kidney dialysis, and now my kidney's better again. So, I get the individual reinforcement and personal rewards of these people feeling grateful for me having helped their medical conditions. And that's just so warming, so warm and moving stories, how could you not be motivated to keep going by those things, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And and it's interesting. I remember asking you one time, it's like, how do you deal with people that turn away and don't want to listen to you? And you say, I focus on the ones that do listen. And that was such a huge lesson for me, because the people I love the most, the people that are in my family, my friends, that I can't impact, that I have not been able to, I just need to focus on myself, focus on my life, and focus on those who really do want to learn and grow with the show, with me. And so you've been a great teacher. Thank you so much, Dr. Fuhrman.
You're welcome. When I became a physician, my intention was not to change the world. It was to be able to help the people that came to me and wanted my care as a physician. And if I saw 6 people a day or 30 people a week, and I could help 10 of those people change their life, that was why I became a physician. I had no expectations for the whole population. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, hold on.
Right here waiting for
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. And today's teacher, what a treat to have Dr. Joel Fuhrman on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show monthly. He is a welcome monthly visitor, as we can say very, very positively from the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. And so last month, Dr. Fuhrman answered your questions, and we had so many people on to ask, their personal questions I've always wanted to ask Dr. Fuhrman. But we had so many questions left over that I thought, we need to just do another question and show about question and answers. And so Dr. Fuhrman has agreed to it. Dr. Fuhrman has also agreed to be my guest to the next Heal Tribe meeting. So for those of you who are part of the Heal Tribe, you've heard it here first. Dr. Fuhrman will be a special guest. We're going to Zoom him in and answer your questions as well. So if you're in the Jacksonville area and you want to be a part of the Heal Tribe and learn where we're going to meet, you're welcome to text me and I'll give you all the information. But you can go to Heal Healthy Eating and Living Tribe. And so today, Dr. Fuhrman, are you ready for all these questions?
Sure.
Okay. So first question that we didn't get to last month was from Amelia, and she asked, what kind of foods you advise to help with acid reflux?
Well, the main thing is that we want to keep the acid production low, number one. And number two, not eat too often and too close to bedtime. You don't want to have any digestion going on when you go to sleep at night. So you want to finish dinner at least 4 hours before going to sleep. So if you go to sleep at 10 o'clock, that means you have to finish by 6 o'clock. So the point is we have to, and then you shouldn't overeat either. But the foods, we have to eat a diet mostly vegan, not have animal protein, because animal protein requires the acid production of the stomach to produce a lot more acid to try to digest that food. So the major factor of producing excessive acid is eating high protein foods. You have to eat a relatively, stick to vegetables. And then if you're having significant problems, then you should start to eat foods that absorb moisture too. In other words, eat steel-cut oats, eat quinoa, eat squashes, which are gentle on the digestive tract. So, and don't eat highly spiced food either, no hot foods. And don't eat it. And if you're having irritation, don't eat a lot of acid foods like citrus fruit, pineapple, and tomatoes either. Mm-hmm. So the main thing is to eat small amounts, smaller frequent meals, perhaps 3 or 4 small meals a day. Don't eat after 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and stay away and go on a vegan diet.
Now, do you ever eat do you eat later than 6 o'clock in your busy schedule? Do you ever find yourself going, I'm going to have to stretch it, so I'm going to stay up later?
Yes, many times I can't stay to that rule. I'm too busy or I haven't a chance to eat in my schedule. But I do sometimes stay up later, but sometimes I just go to bed when I'm not supposed to. I'm not always perfect.
Yes.
I'm trying as much as I can to finish eating by if I go to bed like between, let's say, 10 and 11 o'clock. So I'm trying as best I can to finish eating by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock the latest. But once I finish eating dinner, I don't come back and eat again. Even if I didn't eat enough food and I get hungry before I go to bed at night, I don't eat, I go to bed.
Very good.
But I'm trying my best to follow what I teach, yes.
Very good.
But I'm not always perfect.
And and that's very good to know, because sometimes that guilt or that perfection and wanting to achieve everything perfectly can be so stressful that could cause other diseases to pop up and manifest, because we're feeling guilty about the things that we're not achieving. But we need to look at the things that we are and be gentle on ourselves. And tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow we'll do it again. Right?
Right.
It just makes you human, Dr. Fuhrman. Okay, so what about chia? When it comes to the absorption, what about chia? Is that a good that's what I use for acid reflux, or
Yes,
for
that's very, very good. Chia can absorb its weight. That's excellent. But it should be ground first. Or you could pay close attention to chewing it very well. You
Yes.
can chew it well, because if you mix it with food, sometimes people swallow it whole. It's not going to be, but yes, it's an excellent food to use.
Yeah, next time you see me, you'll see a little chia plant coming out of my mouth, because I love chia. I have it every day with my breakfast, and that's part of my seeds for my G-bombs.
That protects against breast cancer.
Yes, yes, and flaxseed. Now, could sometimes I wonder if I'm allergic or sensitive to flaxseed. Is that possible?
What do you get when you have flaxseed?
I don't know. I get a little acid, like a little acid response, acidic response.
We have to be careful, because there are some brands of flax seeds that have been contaminated with cadmium in cadmium-rich soils. So we have to contact the flaxseed company in which we get our flaxseed from and ask them if their flax seeds have been tested for cadmium content, because there's some cadmium brands of flax seeds that have been detected to have some contamination in them. So that
Cadmium. I gotta check that out.
Cadmium in flax seeds.
And flaxseed. Do you recommend a particular brand do you have any brand on at drfuhrman.com?
No, I'm still researching. We're still researching and testing and trying to find the lowest cadmium brands.
Okay, great. Love to do a show on that in the future, because that's so important, because we think we're eating well, but even in the foods that we're eating that are, even if they say organic or non-GMO, I'm wondering if in that there is some contamination just from the rain from the sky, so it's just so many things that we don't know.
Right. So the main thing we do know right now is that the brown rice and the wild rice and black rice and red rice, in other words, rice is contaminated in this country, and the rice has been contaminated with arsenic from chicken manure, and so I don't really recommend people eat rice anymore. They just have quinoa and kamut and teff, and other grains and avoiding rice right now, unless you buy special rice. But generally speaking, of eating much less rice, and people are avoiding rice because of the report from Consumer Reports showing that the levels of acceptable arsenic is higher than what's acceptable, in other words.
Interesting. That's a show within itself. Okay, so Dr. Fuhrman, from Nick, he asked, what kind of beans are the best kind of beans? Do you have a particular favorite that do more for the body, or are they all the same?
They're not all the same, but even the ones that aren't at the top are still exceptionally superior foods. So it's always better to eat a variety of beans and a variety of mushrooms and a variety of green vegetables. So you shouldn't focus on which is the best bean. Just eat a variety of beans. The best beans are the red beans or the black beans, like Azuki beans, red kidney beans, navy beans, and black beans. Those are the best. But in other words, they're a little better than chickpeas and white and cannoli beans and white beans. But that doesn't mean the cannoli beans, the white beans, and chickpeas aren't superior, excellent, great foods too. So you don't have to focus on the best, and just vary it around and eat the beans that you enjoy. Of course, we also want people to eat lentils too. Lentils, and they make all different types: black lentils, brown lentils, green lentils. Lentils are a very superior food to utilize on a regular basis in your diet.
Very good. Now let's go ahead and go over the G-bombs that you recommend as a nutritarian, because for people who are tuning in for the first time, they're getting bits and pieces. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, if you go on to whenyounneedafriend.com and put Dr. Fuhrman's name on there, you'll get lots of information from him already. And so let's talk about G-bombs. And because we had some people ask how to build your immune system. So let's talk about the G bombs.
Right. So the G bombs are the foods that have the most scientific evidence to protect against cancer and to support a heightened immune function. And all plant foods are not equal. Certainly, so we're saying that raw green cruciferous vegetables like kale and collards and mustard greens and turnip greens and arugula and watercress and bok choy have a heightened benefit to protecting against cancer compared to, let's say, an apple or rice or quinoa. In other words, what I'm saying is that the green vegetables have incredibly protective effects, and people in populations that eat more of these green vegetables live longer and have lower rates of cancer. So the GBOM stands for those foods that show those dramatic lifespan extending and anti-cancer benefits. And it stands for the GBOMBS, stands for green cruciferous vegetables is the G, like kale or collards or broccoli. Then B is beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. And with regard to seeds, we're talking about the high lignin seeds that protect against breast cancer, as we mentioned before, to have some flax seeds or chia seeds in your diet each day. You know, sesame seeds and other seeds contain some lignins, but flax and chia contain the most. So we want people to eat a little bit of flax and chia in their diet, eat every single day. The onion family is unrecognized as tremendously anti-cancer potential. We're trying to encourage people to eat raw scallion and raw onion in their salad every single day. And then when they make their soups, to blend the onion or scallion and leek raw. Blend it raw with a little bit of water, or a little bit of the soup base, so you cause that stink and that sulfenic acid to be formed. And then once you form those organosulfide anti-cancer compounds, you can pour it into the soup to cook in with your soup.
And it's delicious.
But you want to blend the onion and the scallion and the leek while it's still raw, because you want to form the compounds first. If you cook the onion or leek and then blend it or in the soup, you're not going to form anywhere near as many anti-cancer benefits.
Very good, very good. So also, you talk about flax chia, but what about hemp? What is your opinion about hemp?
Hemp seeds are a terrific food, which are high in protein and high in omega-3s, but they don't contain the lignin content of flax and chia with regard to breast cancer. So I want people to eat hemp seeds and also, but still consume your flax or chia in addition to that. A lot of times for breakfast, I'll have a tablespoon of hemp seed and a tablespoon of chia or flax in my oatmeal or my steel cut oats or whatever it is I'm eating, you know, or just sometimes I'll just mix it in with berries and frozen cherries, you know.
Very good. And it just makes it, and it gives it an egg consistency. Like when I'm preparing foods that I want to have the equivalent of an egg, that chia or flaxseed, when you add water to it and you mix it, gives that really nice consistency too.
Right. It makes things stick together.
Yes, it does.
I'll use homemade almond hemp milk too in the morning. I'll take usually 6 cups of water to 1 cup of almonds and hemp seeds. So it's 6-to-1 or 5-to-1 if you want it thicker. But it's so it's 1 cup of mixed, not 1 cup of hemp and 1 cup of almonds. We're talking about a half a cup of almonds and a half a cup of hemp seeds. So it's 1 cup of almond and hemp mixed with a cup of water to 1 or 2 medjool dates and 1 tablespoon of real ground vanilla bean powder. So that's blended up in the, finely, maybe in the Vitamix. And then you can have that morning or the following morning. But it's only good for 2 days. We don't keep it for more than 48 hours, for that. Well, it's actually 24 hours because you make it that day, you have it fresh. 24 hours later, you can use it the next morning. But after that, I don't use it anymore because it's not, but that's the advantage of it because the commercial milks you buy with a long shelf life have been pasteurized and don't have the beneficial nutrients as much as you make your own hemp milk. Yeah.
And I was just going to say that even if you go an extra day, it's still probably have more nutrients than the stuff that we get in the grocery store at all. Just if you think about it, there's
it's much more nutritious, but it starts to curl or to go bad after the 3rd day.
Oh yeah? I wonder if we can make a new turn it into like yogurt. We can find a new use. The only
way you can make it so it doesn't start to go is if you put like lemon in it. You have to put acid in it. Like if you put the acid, the vinegar, the lemon makes it stay longer. That's when we make tomato sauce based dishes, we can store them all week because the tomato sauce creates the acid. When we put vinegar, acid, lemon, it increases the refrigerator life so it doesn't go bad.
Very good. Very good. We're going to continue about fasting when we return, water fasting when we return with Dr. Fuhrman. And now you can get us on at Lillian's radio show on Facebook Live. And we'll continue our conversation when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Yeah. So we have our next segment that we're going to talk about when we go back on the air is water fasting. I just did a show with Dr. Michael Clapper on water fasting, and we were talking about maybe doing a water fast. And so I know that you also are very big on water fasting and intermittent fasting, and so we're going to be talking about that when we come back from the break. But I have some more questions that I can ask. Let me see. There's still a fasting. Let's see. Nutritional health of the body, detox. Okay. Jess wants to know nutritional diet or the nutritarian diet. Can it help detox heavy metals?
Yes.
And what are some of the supplements that people can use to kind of aid in that process with heavy metals?
The main thing is not to be taking in the heavy metals. You know, your body's always dumping. And when you have a diet rich in phytonutrients, you get, you know, thousands of different phytonutrients and fibers that help your body, and lectins actually, from beans that help the body remove heavy metals. What I'm saying right now is that cardiologist from Florida who makes up the stories about lectins being dangerous, you know what I mean? That guy who fakes it to make people afraid to eat lectins so we can sell them this lectin fighting. It's a total scam. But the lectins actually are beneficial to the body and they help remove heavy metals. So the lectins come from beans and vegetables. So it's the regular nutritarian diet helps your body remove heavy metals. You don't need the specialty supplements and the chelation agents. You just don't take in, you know, and the biggest exposure is through animal products from commercial fast food and fish and that get you exposed to toxins. We're not taking in animal products and fish. Our exposure is relatively low. We're eating a diet with a rich source of phytonutrients in them, and where heavy metals should not be a problem. But, you know, there are some areas of the country where people are growing food in contaminated soils and contaminated water, and you know, so it is what's the word? There's some benefit to growing some of our own food.
Well, you're big on that.
It's not just organic, but we know the water supply we watered it with too. You know, we know the fertilizer, we know what we put in the soil. You know, I'm trying to do regenerative organic agriculture, which means we leave the soil in better shape after we utilize it, not worse shape. We don't strip it of nutrients, we replace the nutrients. So, you know, I'm using, you know, earthworms and compost and leaves from the forest and things like that. You know, even at my getaway, my Eat to Live retreat in San Diego, you know, I have natural forest, like pine needles and leaves that decompose. We have a lot of worms that are fed a careful diet. The waters are excellent. We use crushed mineral rock. And of course, we use, you know, some natural wild peat. But the point I'm making is that I don't need fertilizer. I don't have to contaminate it with commercial fertilizer that may have lead in it. It may have some other toxic because the soil is so rich that, and also we put bat guano in there. You know, so even in my lawn here in New Jersey, I'll rake up the deer poop with a rake, and I'll save the deer poop off my lawn and put it in my compost. So I'm not using commercial manures, because when you use commercial chicken manure or horse manure, you can spread toxins that they feed the chickens or the horses. You know, if you use the manure or the poop of commercially raised animals, even when organic, the poop of the commercial raised animals is contaminated because they're not feeding those animals a healthy diet. So you got to go to.
You know, you would think that the animals in these commercial farms that are organic and that they're being raised, that would be raised without GMOs, and they would be raised with things that are.
The organic farmers don't have to use the poop from organic animals. They can use the poop from non-organic animals. See,
they need to go in or go out. I mean, I think it needs to be all in or done. Okay, Dr. Fuhrman.
You can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
bet people didn't think we'd be talking about organic poop.
Or leave her a voice.
I just had to delete that
373
image of you picking
5959.
up poop.
Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. And you can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I am loving my conversation with Dr. Fuhrman off the air. We're talking about poop. Just in case you didn't know, we are talking about poop. And so for those of you who have been enjoying these free conversations where we get to learn and grow in this classroom is what I call it now. It's not just a radio show or a Facebook Live or YouTube. It's a classroom where we learn from the experts. And our teacher today is Dr. World-renowned, best-selling author, over 30 years experience with nutritarian, nutritional science and with a nutritarian diet. It's the one that's here to stay. If you look at all the other diets and lifestyle, they require, it's almost faddish, and you kind of like grow out of it because it doesn't support you after a while. But a nutritarian lifestyle supports you for the rest of your life, and even going into your senior years, it will keep you from the diseases that are known as aging diseases. They're only aging diseases because we are poisoned and from all the commercial foods that we're eating. And so Dr. Fuhrman today is talking to us about how answering all the questions that you may have. I went back and I copied and pasted every single question that I did not ask. And so today I'm excited that we get to do another do-over. But I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we have responsible conversation. This is where we can grow together. When you go there at whenyouneedafriend.com, please become a subscriber. Once you subscribe, the audio of the show is sent to you, but as well as my 90-day challenge to self-love ebook. And again, the show, and you'll get to know who's going to be on the show way before anybody else does too. Then while you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, I ask you to go into and follow me on my social media, follow me on YouTube, become a subscriber there. And when you become a subscriber, the video gets sent to you if that's what you want. And so you have this information for you to enjoy whenever you have the time to see it, if you don't have time in the morning. And so, or in the afternoon, whenever it is that you have the time. So make sure that you follow me and like me. And so you help us grow the show, because this is information that you don't get on television or in the news. This is information that you don't see in the on the newspaper, unless you're reading my articles for Florida Today. So I am just encouraging you to help by being a part, being actively and responsible for the life that you want to live. I want to also encourage you to go to the podcast. If you're not the type of person that likes to subscribe one way, you can subscribe on my podcast, and we can always, and check out my sponsors. Oh boy, that without my sponsors, this show would not happen. So please go to my sponsors page and figure out ways that you can support them the way that they're supporting the show. And so today we have Dr. Joel Fuhrman. If you're listening today for the first time, I'm going to say this number slowly. I want to encourage you to put this on your favorite list. I used to say speed dial until I was corrected that that's no longer the terminology, but your favorites, and go to 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. 5959. So today we're talking with Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I just absolutely love him. He is just a friend of the show that just keeps showing up, even when he has an interview with Dr. Oz. That was one of my favorites, Dr. Fuhrman. When you just finished interviewing with Dr. Oz and you found yourself a little cubby and you did the show with me. I just love the fact that you are such a friend of the show, and you've become a friend of mine. And thank you so much for everything that you do, not just for yourself in your small, in your circle, but you have gone beyond your circle and to my circle as well. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Okay, so before we went on the break, I talked about that we had many questions about water fasting. And so the first question I got was from Kenneth. He was the first one to ask a question and I didn't see it. So I had like all these other questions. So I told him I'm going to ask that question, Kenneth Camp. So he wants to know that when we're water fasting or is it okay to drink water that have electrolytes added?
Yes, it would be okay to drink water with electrolytes, and assuming the water is otherwise clean.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that there's nothing else wrong with the water, sure, why not? You don't
Okay.
have to have electrolytes present, but there's nothing wrong with having some present.
How can you create electrolytes? Would you add salt? What is it that you do? How do you create electrolytes? Add electrolytes.
Well, we wouldn't add the electrolytes. The company that made the water would. We wouldn't want to just add sodium chloride to the water. We would have so there should be other electrolytes added to it. It should be a well-rounded. I think if I had to recommend something, it would be better to have the water without the electrolytes added. The body would adjust to a small amount of electrolytes, but you should not be putting salt in your water. You want your body to diurese and get rid of the excess sodium. The main electrolyte, or that's limited when you fast, the body loses, is potassium.
Mm-hmm.
So the potassium is where the person has to stop their fast after fasting a certain amount of days because the potassium starts to drop too low. So the main electrolyte we need during the fast is potassium. If you took in sodium without potassium, it would be harmful. If you took in a little extra potassium with a little bit of sodium, that could be acceptable.
Very good. Very good. I see that you have a friend in the background saying something different.
Right.
Okay. So then we have Jess. Jess, and she's now on. Thank you, Jess, for coming on today. She said, clean filtered water is an important issue these days. Can you recommend a water filter that removes these toxins, PFAs? I don't think I've heard of, BPAs, BFAs, and toxic pesticides. So what would you say about that?
There's a lot of excellent filters out today. The reverse osmosis filters with the extra canisters, they have filtration chambers plus reverse osmosis change are put in tandem with each other. So I think that when you spend a little bit more money, you can have it installed into your house with a spigot put right next to your sink for water drinking. And I think it's a great investment. When I was young, we used to have a distiller in the house and make our own water, but now they have these excellent filters that take everything out of the water and give you real pure H2O. And they hold it in a big holding tank. So you can make so it's no effort to have great water. So I think it's worth the investment if you own a home to install those more expensive water filters that cost, $600 to $800. You could buy those counter models, those counter reverse osmosis models that sit on your counter with a switch, and those I think cost about $300 or $400 for the really good ones. But they're available today. I can't recommend one particular brand because there are a lot of acceptable brands.
Very good, and they're very affordable as well. As a matter of fact, Robert and I, my husband and I, talked about this is our Christmas gift to one another. We're going to get a reverse osmosis because I keep hearing more and more. Because there's the waters that it costs, like the Kangen waters. What do you call those waters that are I forget the name for it, but they're oh gosh.
Right. There are some waters that are infused with some other benefits, like there are some hydrogen infused waters that are very good also.
Oh yeah.
Learning more about it are helpful for people, but but the most important thing is to have clean water. You don't have a filter. You don't have a filter on your house?
I have a filter in my refrigerator, but it would be nice to have one to clean.
Just on the door of the refrigerator, those little filters.
The little filters. That's what I have. Yes.
Yeah, that's not reverse osmosis.
No, it is not.
It's not as good.
No, it is not. And so we are going to do this year. This is going to be our gift to one another. And then we're going to have a Christmas of the heart. We're going to have like love letters. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to make it simple this year because, sometimes we obsess too much about, the big gift. And so this year it's going to be a very simple holiday for us. Right. And so, okay. So what drinking water, when it comes to drinking water, you're saying that reverse osmosis does it take away the fluorides that are in our water? Does it take away the chlorine as well?
Yes, it does. That's what distillation does not remove all the chlorine, but reverse osmosis and the filtration systems do.
Now, I don't know where you stand on this, but then they say that when you remove everything from the water, that the minerals need to be put back in. And
Not
that's
true.
when, not true. Let's talk about that.
No, it's that because our diet is rich in minerals and when we're eating a healthy diet, we don't need to drink that much water. If you're eating unhealthily and drinking so much water, it's the excessive amount of water drinking that washes away your electrolytes and takes away too many minerals. But when you're eating a healthy diet that's not high in salt, your water needs are relatively low comparatively to other Americans. And sure, you're replenishing the water from exercise and sweating, but you're not causing excessive diuresis. It's the excessive urination, the excessive diuresis that washes away the electrolytes, not the water itself. So we shouldn't.
Interesting.
So when we're eating healthy, the water I require over and above my exercise needs. Don't forget, I might be drinking a quart when I'm playing tennis or going to the gym. But other than that, the amount of water I need on the days I'm not exercising, maybe 2 glasses of water a day because otherwise my diet is so rich in water. I'm urinating a lot as it is from all the high water content of my food and my soups and my fruits and my vegetables and all my high water content salads are very rich in minerals. So my diet is already so mineral rich and fluid rich that I'm not going to get electrolyte loss from the water I'm drinking.
Very good, Dr. Fuhrman. And so this is our topic today. If you have a question for Dr. Fuhrman, you can call or text 407-373-5959, or you can go on to @Lillian's Radio Show on Facebook Live, and you can ask your question in the comments section. And we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Joel Fuhrman when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, Dr. Fuhrman, you talk about if you eat your diet. The reality is a lot of people find your diet and then they start changing their diet. But going into many people are eating the standard American diet. So with the way that the nutritarian lifestyle, you may not need as much water. But every doctor that has come in prior to meeting you has said, half your body weight in ounces. And so is that formula good for people who have not embraced your lifestyle? And what is the formula for a nutritarian lifestyle when it comes to water? When you're thirsty or what?
Yeah, so the question is, it's not a fair question because it's saying like, well, for people who smoke cigarettes, if I don't, the advice to try to mitigate the damage from eating a standard American diet, which is poisonous.
Yes.
It's because then you're damaged from the excess water and you're damaged from the diet. So you're washing away the minerals and you're taking in a diet that's poor. It just exacerbates each other. But so I don't consider that. Like you said earlier, a nutritarian diet is the gold standard.
Yes.
It's never going to be here to stay. There's no way that any other diet comes close for longevity.
That's right.
And ability to live a healthy life. Nothing even comes close to it. And the conventional vegan diet, the low-fat vegans, their diet that has a lot of rice and potato and grains, it's a fad because it's not going to be a diet that's going to hold it because the studies are overwhelmingly stronger that more variety in your diet is better than eating just high and adding nuts and seeds to a variety of vegetables with all types of foods has better longevity potential than just eating more rice and potato with less green vegetables and less nuts and seeds. So nutritional diversity is important. To have some fat, some whole food fat present in the meal is important. To have these so whether we're talking about a ketogenic diet with more oil and more fat in it, with less nutrient density and less fiber, never going to be shown long-term to be better for people's health. A Mediterranean diet with more white bread and more white pasta and more oil, and never going to be shown to be as good as a nutritarian diet. The nutritarian diet looks at every aspect that considers longevity, which includes moderate caloric restriction, a full symphony of protective micronutrients, and utilizing those micronutrients so they're maximally absorbed. And we're talking about exposure to reducing exposure to toxins, having the right bacteria in the gut. There's not one facet of longevity that's not addressed with a nutritarian approach. So if you're going to choose to do something else, then you're just compromising compromising your health for either because of you're accepting misinformation or you have a belief system that is not complete.
Okay. Okay. So
You
with
know,
that in mind, when do you drink water? If you're exercising, you're replenishing. But on your day-to-day living, do you drink water when you're thirsty, or do you drink water?
I
like-
hardly ever get thirsty on a nutritarian diet. I probably don't ever really need to drink water if I'm not exercising.
Because you're getting it in your juices and your fruits and your
Except when I go to San Diego and it's hot in the, it's hotter there and drier there, I find myself needing more water. Then I got to remember to drink my
or leave her a voicemail at
Hold
407
on, I can't hear you.
5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn and grow together. And today's teacher is Dr. Joel Fuhrman. For those of you who have never heard of Dr. Joel Fuhrman, where have you been? It is time for you to embrace a nutritarian lifestyle, which is what I embrace. Although I don't force it upon people. I just want to share how important nutrition is. And why not learn from the best? And I'm so excited that Dr. Joel Fuhrman is with us once a month, and we get to listen to these shows over and over and over again. Thank you, Dr. Fuhrman, for everything that you do to help heal. You said earlier that you didn't become a doctor to change the world, but that you wanted people to come to you. But you have mastered that. You have so many people that come to you to grow and heal their bodies in a way that reverses the damages of the environment. So thank you so much for that. And we have a question, Dr. Fuhrman, from Corrine. And she says that she wants to ask, why are we still spraying pesticides in our food? And I don't know if you have a crystal ball and can answer that, but I just thought, let me just ask it.
Well, I didn't answer the question about water because I wanted to.
I was going to get you later. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
When I'm here in New Jersey and it's humid and I'm not exercising, I may only drink 1 or 2 glasses a day. But I notice when I go to California to my San Diego retreat, and it's more like a desert there and it's hotter and it's drier, I do need more water and I do get thirsty much more. So whether I'm exercising in the heat or not exercising, there's where you live in the country and how dry it is plays a role too. So I do try to drink more water in San Diego. I may drink 4 glasses of water a day out there, in San Diego. Whereas I'm in New Jersey, I'm drinking 1 or 2 glasses of water a day, and sometimes I don't even feel like I need to. I just have 1 glass, and my food gives me enough.
So you're getting
the exercising in San Diego. It's hotter, it's drier. Maybe we'll need more water. So I think to drink a glass of water between breakfast and between lunch and dinner, and possibly later in the day after dinner, might be important in a dry climate where it's sucking water out of you more because it's drier and the perspiration and just the lack of humidity is taking water away from your body more. So it could vary based on where you live and the climate and the heat involved and the dryness.
And we're talking about people that have a nutritarian lifestyle because you're eating, vegetables and fruits and soups and
melons we're eating lots of high nutrient food, water content food that's low in salt. Well, I'm agreeing that if your diet is not good, with salt added to it and a more dry diet with more grains and more animal products, you need a lot more water, maybe double the amount of water that you would on a nutritarian diet.
Yes. Okay, very good. So the next question I have did not come from Facebook Live. It came from a text that I received while you were doing the last show. And so they were asking about soy and how they were told by their doctor that they cannot eat soy because of cancer, that soy causes estrogen and cancer. And I said, no, it's not. It's a misinformation. So I'd like for you to set us straight once and for all about tofu and the differences between the soys. Not all soys are created equal.
Right. So that we always want to eat foods that are unprocessed or minimally processed. So it's like saying corn is good or bad. Well, the best corn is organic and grows from good soil. And we don't turn into corn chips or corn flakes, just eat it as corn. The same thing with soy. We want to eat soy that's edamame or tempeh, because tempeh is fermented soy and edamame is just the soybeans. And those have the most protection against breast cancer. And to say, quote, soy has some harmful effects is not knowledgeable. It shows tremendous ignorance because the studies show that people with higher consumption of soy, of unprocessed soy, have lower rates of breast and prostate cancer. And even those patients who have breast cancer live longer and have less recurrence and less death when they have soy products in their diet. However, that's not the same thing as when you eat isolated soy protein. When you eat isolated soy protein, it raises IGF-1, and the concentration of the protein can have negative effects. It's not because the estrogenic effects of genistein, it's because you're eating a concentrated protein like an egg white that raises IGF-1 too high. So I do not recommend people eat soy products that are made from isolated soy protein. Now, soy milk and tofu are moderately processed because they're not made from soybeans, they're made from soy milk, which is made from soybeans which are juiced, they have squeezed and then the fiber is removed. Mm-hmm. You can make tofu and soy milk from the whole soybean and leave the fiber intact to make it even healthier. But so we want it, that's a food we want to eat more moderately, not excessively, because it's not a whole food. Soy milk and tofu are not whole foods, they're moderately processed foods. They're not a food related to cancer. Higher consumption of tofu and soy milk in population studies have shown lower rates of breast cancer, not higher rates. They're not a food to be feared, but we don't want to eat large amounts of them because there are other foods that contain the more beneficial part. It's better to eat a variety of beans in our diet. It's better to pick the beans that are not processed and to keep soy products to a reasonable amount. And the best soy products to use, again, are edamame and tempeh. And if you're going to use soy milk and tofu, keep it to more moderate amounts.
Okay. And so with soy, we have to be very, very careful. I want to add to what you're saying that it be non-GMO.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay. Just wanted to add that too. So, and the other one that I received was stents. Doctor is recommending that the listener get a stent. And you have said on the show that unless you're having a heart attack and you're in the middle of a heart attack, that this is not a good idea. And that if you can reverse cardiovascular disease or heart disease with nutrition. So can you share a little bit about that?
Right. For the last 30 years, I've been caring for people who have advanced heart disease, being told they need urgent stents or bypass surgery. And every single one of those people have reversed their heart disease and gotten well again and not required any intervention if they follow my diet strictly. Just this month, I opened my Eat to Live retreat in California in September. And out of the first group of people that came in, 2 of them were having unstable chest pain, were having chest pain at rest and had blockages in their hearts. And one person, they both got rid of their chest pain and they opened up those blood vessels relatively quickly within weeks, not months. Dave, who came in, weighed 370 pounds. He lost 50 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow.
In the 3rd month, he lost 20 pounds. So he lost 70 pounds in the first 12 weeks in the program. But of course, he's at my facility. He's being fed perfectly. He's the first time he's eaten this way. So he's probably lost a lot of water weight too. It's not all fat that came off.
Sure.
Regardless, what I'm saying right now is these conditions reverse relatively rapidly. In other words, we stabilize the heart disease, remove the atherosclerosis, streamline the flow of blood to the heart, the chest pains go away. And once you put a stent in the heart, you're never the same. You've damaged your blood vessels forever. You've ruined the chance to reverse it and go back to normal tissue again. In other words, you put a stent in there, and now you have a foreign body that creates a nidus of inflammation, where now you're going to have more likely to have a clot form where the stent ends. And now you have to be on Plavix and aspirin and clot Xarelto or clot blood thinning agents for the rest of your life, because you would increase the risk of throwing a clot and having a heart attack forever once that stent is placed. So that's right. The studies show that people who had stents placed do not live longer or have less future heart attack risks than people who do not place stents. Let me say that one more time. Even in people who don't change their diet, who don't follow a nutritarian diet, just comparing whether they have stents or they don't. Conventional dietary people don't live longer because they put stents in. Stents do nothing to extend lifespan. They just give a temporary relief of chest pain. The only time stents are indicated where they do protect against extend lifespan is, like you said earlier, when a person is undergoing a heart attack at the moment, we want to quickly get the blood into their heart from the blocked area. So we thread a, the stent through there and open it up to allow the heart to get oxygen again. So yes, in an emergency situation, when you're undergoing a heart attack, a stent can be life-saving and should be done. But if it's an elective procedure where you go to a doctor, he puts you on a stress test, and he says you have a blockage here where your catheterization shows a blockage. It's 90% blocked in your LAD, and that's the widowmaker, and it's going to kill you if you don't treat that stent.
Yeah.
He's wrong. He's wrong that coming into my facility and eating a nutritarian diet for 12 weeks will be 100 times safer at extending his life and doing some procedure on him.
Well done. And it's Eat to Live. Tell him that you heard about him on the Lillian McDermott radio show. That's the Eat to Live retreat in San Diego, California. Dr. Fuhrman, we're out of time on the radio, but we're going to continue off the air. Thank you so much. And I want to list for those of you, please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. I love when you talk like this because people are being manipulated with fear.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's a class in medical school, Dr. Fuhrman, how to manipulate your patient, but they're doing it with fear. If you don't get chemotherapy, you're going to die. If you don't get a stent, you're going to die. If you don't get this fusion, you're going to die. But the reality is that, our body has an ability to adjust once we give it what it needs.
Right. You're right. It's so bad. Just last week, somebody called me up they were having a catheterization. I said, don't do the catheterization. Come in. Let's get rid of your heart disease. I called them back to see how they were doing. They got the catheterization. The doctor put in a stent. How'd they let them put in a stent when they could have come in and just ate themselves to a clear heart? It's like, God, they're just were influenced by the doctor being there and the cardiologist threatening them, giving them bad information.
Yes, absolutely. And I just recently had an experience, and I was sitting there listening to my doctor share with me that I didn't do this, I was going to go blind. It was a laser procedure. I had a detached retina, and I was listening to him, and he said, okay, you have a tear, and that tear can get worse, but if you don't have this laser where we can cauterize it and kind of attach it back to your eye, you could go blind. And as I'm hearing this, I'm thinking that might be true, but it could heal itself. Do I want to take a risk? And that's where they put you in that place.
Right.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And so it's like you need a course on saying no to a doctor.
Absolutely. And I think that is one thing besides the nutritional information I teach. There's also a whole aspect to my books and my message.
Yes.
And that is to keep yourself healthy to avoid medical care, because medical care is damaging. And in most cases, does more harm than it does good. I mean, of course, I'm not saying emergency medical care, but the treatment of chronic conditions, and mostly what doctors do is treat chronically dietary-induced diseases. And most of what they do hurts people more than it helps people. If you never had that care, people would be forced to eat healthy or do something else besides just take drugs. So it's,
And that's a great question. That is always the best question. One of the questions that came out when you and I were having a conversation is, but what if there wasn't a pill to heal whatever condition you've been given? Our bodies are screaming at us. And instead of covering it up with some pill, you can do something different before you choose. I'm not against the pill. I take thyroid, Nature-Throid for thyroid. And so it's like,
that's completely different, because that's thyroid. You're replacing a hormone your body is not producing. That's not taking a medicinal pharmacologic substance that's toxic to interfere with the body so you can suppress the symptom of the disease.
Yeah.
Thyroid medication when you have thyroid disease, or even a little bit of insulin when you have type 1 diabetes, is not the same thing as using a toxic drug to lower blood pressure or lower cholesterol or lower blood sugar.
Yes.
Completely different.
Absolutely. But still, I did not know that until you shared that. And it's good for people to know that. But there's other shows that I do that with certain foods, maybe are there certain foods that cause a malfunction of that hormone?
Yes, there are. It's that when you're exposed young in life, and women are very sensitive to plastic compounds like BPA and dioxin and other contaminants in our food supply. And the thyroid gland is very sensitive to exposure to foods that are that have been, that have plastic exposure and have chemicals in them. So that these chemicals have permeated our environments. They're found in polar bear urine. You know what I mean? So they're all over the world. And so so that's another reason we should feed our children organically and homegrown foods to reduce the risk of contamination causing hypothyroidism. And once that thyroid, those thyroids don't come back, they suck up those toxins and they hold on to them, the thyroid does. And then you develop hypothyroidism, and your thyroid gland is pretty much shot.
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
usually happens to exposure through your first 15 years of life. When once you develop it at age 30, it's too late to reverse it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm still hopeful. I know what you're saying, but I'm still hopeful. But Dr. Fuhrman, we hear from our doctors that have been on the show, friends of yours that absolutely think that you should receive a Nobel Prize for the work that you're doing, that have come on the show to share that you have been their teacher too. You're talking about doctors that have walked away from medication management. It's not just healing the body. But before you go, I would like for you to talk a little bit more about your retreat center, and also how a nutritarian lifestyle is more than medication management, that it is healing your body.
Well, I know that, I want people to my whole life has been giving people the tools they need to take care of their health. So they don't have to be sick. Don't be satisfied with being sick. You can get well. And through my website, I try to give people this emotional support, products that make it easy if they can't make their own salad dressings. We have the salad dressings made for them, have a sauce made for their vegetable dish, whatever it is. We're trying to make it so it's easy to do it on the road. There's no excuses not to be able to do this. Nevertheless, there's still a large number of people that are sickly and food addicted, and they can't seem to control their behavior. And so it was very thrilling of me to open up a center in California, because it's such a beautiful, relaxing place. And I have 3 chefs there, 3 chefs, not 1 chef. And they work together to make this. The food is so delicious that you would want to go there even if you're not sick, just to eat the food and relax in the beautiful swimming pool and see the beautiful
Can
climate.
you do that? Can you do that? If people
sure
are watching, can you go and just have a meal there?
Not a meal. You can't go there for less than a week or 2. But the majority of people would want, because I can't hold rooms with people that come in for a week or 2.
Just like open a little nutritarian restaurant on the side there.
Yeah, no, it's not going to do that. But anyway,
you get them. You say that they say that you attract a man through their stomach. I don't know what's that saying. A man falls in love with you through the stomach because you feed him well, right? So you get people to go there, try your food, and then they'll go into your retreat center.
Absolutely, that's but in any case, most of the people that come there are overweight with diabetes or high blood pressure, or they know that they have to lose weight and get healthier, and they have trouble doing it on their own. And we teach them how to make the food taste great on their own. We work with them, we counsel them, and get rid of their emotional eating patterns. And they really learn to love this. So in other words, it enables me to reach people that I could not normally save their lives. So if you're a person in serious need who have heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, fibromyalgia, chronic headaches, even I have a patient coming in who has renal failure, who we're trying to get his kidney back. Then I work with these people personally. I'm giving them my personal medical care, adjusting their diet appropriately, having my chefs make the perfect menu for their condition. We pick the food in the garden, so it's eating the fresh, healthiest food in the world. And I'm able to have miraculously healing take place and send their home a completely different person, both physically and emotionally. And now that they have the ability to do this and stick with it, because they've lost their attraction to the junk that they used to have. So I've given me the time. So I'm encouraging long-term stays, that people stay there 3 months, because it takes time, like with an addict, it takes time to no longer desire the junk anymore. So it's something I've wanted to do all my life, and I've been trying to set up the right center for the last 30 years. I remember when was the World Trade Center bombing? When was that?
Probably after 2001.
2001?
Yeah, 2001, September 11th, 2001.
2001. I was right before that. I had this big retreat we were building. We were borrowing $6 million from the bank. We were setting up a $6 million. We had a $12 million place we were going to be building. And then one of my financiers lost a lot in the World Trade Center bombing, so we had to cancel it then. But I've been trying to. So I finally set up the perfect place. I finally got the most beautiful place. most beautiful setting, the most beautiful climate, you know, with a exercise pool and a sand volleyball court and a track and just the sunsets and the beautiful scenery out in the country. It's just amazing with the great chefs and the counselors and the, you know, so I finally, you know, it was a dream of mine because I want to be able to have the place where people who are really ill and need this badly can go, and I can assure they're going to get well and make a full recovery. I felt it was one of the things I really wanted to do my whole life. You know what I mean? So, and I'm passionate about it.
Yeah, and you're able now to make that difference. And for those of you who want to reach out and learn a little bit more, you can go to drfuhrman.com. You can look at the Eat to Live retreat. You can actually do eattoliveretreat.com and it'll take you straight there. And you can call 949-432-6295. That number is 949-432-6295. Let them know that you heard about the retreat on the Lillian McDermott radio show, because, you know, this is a place where we learn and grow together. And it's so important that we help each other out. And Dr. Fuhrman, I'm so excited. I'm thinking about going to California. And so I'm hoping to maybe stop in and say hello to your team and visit.
Why
And
don't you
I'll have to time it.
Stay for a week. Why don't you stay a week there and just enjoy yourself and take a break?
I would love that. I would love that. Okay. And then I could talk about from a place of knowing, hey, I've been there and this is what I learned. And oh gosh, I would love that. That would be great. So for those of you who want to learn more about the Eat to Live retreat, hey, maybe we can all go together. We can do a Lillian McDermott retreat. But so thank you.
Radio show at the retreat.
Yes, we can do a show live and we can have my little posse there, our audience, like we did when we were up in, I think it was Leesburg or Lady Lakes. But anyway, Dr. Fuhrman, thank you so much for your time today. And I wish you a happy holiday.
You too.
Thank you. For those of you who are here at the end of the show and are watching on Facebook Live, please remember to like this video, share it with your friends, and help us grow. Thank you so much, and we'll talk tomorrow. Bye. I'm going to go ahead and stop this now.